Hello and welcome to Global Eye. I'm Parikshit Luthra. India's strategic trade gateway to Afghanistan and Central Asia, the Chabahar port in Iran, is now being targeted by the United States. The Trump administration has removed the waiver on sanctions that it granted in 2018 to ramp up pressure on Iran. So why is Chabahar port so crucial and important for India? And why did New Delhi sign a long-term contract with Iran to develop it? The simple answer is China. That's because the Beijing-operated Gwadar port in Pakistan is just 140 kilometers away from the Chabahar port and is only about 550 nautical miles from the Kanwal port in Gujarat. These two factors make the port India's best bet, both strategically and geopolitically, as it is crucial for India-Iran connectivity. Now, it is important for countering China's presence in the Arabian Sea as well. India's proposed plan to develop the Chabahar port came up for the first time in 2003. New Delhi's vision was to build Chabahar as a major regional and international hub for humanitarian purposes and movement of goods. This strategic port has all the plus points of a major cargo hub. This is a deep water port, providing easy access for large cargo ships. It is also connected by road with Afghanistan. India has used this port for sending wheat, medicines to Afghanistan. Chabahar also serves as a key hub in the international North-South transport corridor linking India with Russia and Europe. India had pledged investments of $500 million in Chabahar in 2016. In 2024, India said it will invest around $120 million in the Shahid Beshti port in Chabahar. A credit window of $250 million has been provided for infrastructure upgrades, and India has supplied port equipment worth about $24 million to develop the Chabahar port. Reacting to the US's move, Randeep Jaiswal, spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs, said that India is examining how the possible impact of Washington's move, which will now kick in 10 days from now.
See, you would have seen the press statement which was issued by the US side yesterday on revocation of sanctions waiver that applies to Chabahar port. We are presently examining the implications that this revocation has for India.
To take this discussion forward, I'm now joined by former Foreign Secretary Kanwal Sibal and former Indian Ambassador to the United States, Meera, Shankar. Thank you for joining us on the show today. Ambassador Sibal, if I can ask you first, why do you think the US has acted in this manner? In 2018, it was this very administration which had given that sanctions waiver for the Chabahar port because they felt this was important for regional connectivity. It was important for India.
Well, as you know, the genesis of the project in 2003, which you mentioned, occurred at a time when I was Foreign Secretary and I was involved in it. The idea was to develop an alternative route for us to Afghanistan because Pakistan was the only access that Afghanistan had to the sea. And given the fact that Pakistan was not allowing us overland transit to Afghanistan, the intention was then, as I said, to give an alternative route to Afghanistan to access the sea and for ourselves to be able to connect ourselves to Afghanistan. At that time, it was not the Taliban that was in power. The progress on this has been slow and fitful, and then to come to what has happened now. I think this is one more strategic blow that the United States has chosen to inflict on India, apart from some other steps that they have taken. And it seems quite unnecessary because it's not only that it gives Afghanistan an alternative to the sea and gives us access to Afghanistan. Beyond that, also it connects us to Central Asia. As you know, very recently, a trilateral meeting between India, Iran, and Uzbekistan took place just a few days ago because Uzbekistan is very keen on developing this project. China is also involved in this area, not directly in the port, but building refinery, railway lines, and this and that. They have shown interest in that, and probably they are involved on the ground. I have not followed it that closely, but I know that they are on the ground. Now, the International North-South Corridor is a different project. but the intention is at some stage to link the two through a railway line across Iran. But that will happen in due course. We'll see.
Right.
Now, there's no need for the United States to punish us this way. I think it is partly also as a result of the irritation that Trump himself felt because at the SCO meeting, Putin, Modi, and Xi were together, and Iran is a member of the SCO. So it's part of that kind of syndrome that Trump and the Trump administration is suffering from when it comes to India's show of strategic autonomy. It's an unfortunate step.
All right.
And
Master Sibal,
it will not help.
I'm going to come back to you.
Our relations, yes.
It's not going to help. But let me get in Ambassador Meera Shankar as well. Ambassador Meera Shankar, what does this waiver exemption, now that it has been taken away and revoked, what does this imply? The document from the State Department, the press statement says that those involved, government entities, individuals involved with the Chabahar project may get sanctioned if they are so involved. Could bodies, could companies, individuals already associated also be sanctioned, or anyone who now tries to get involved with it or make any investments will be impacted?
My sense would be it would be, prospective. It won't be retroactive because the waiver was in force at that time. But unlike the very harsh tariffs which the US has put across the board on Indian exports to the United States for import of Russian oil, these will be more targeted sanctions at companies and individuals involved in the project. But given the fact that, this was a conscious decision of the US in 2018, and it was not just, India, which had interests in the project because it gave us connectivity to Afghanistan and it connected us to Central Asia by land, which we didn't have. That connectivity we didn't have because Pakistan continued to deny us transit across their territory to Central Asia. So it wasn't so much, China-focused, but it was more focused in terms of India's connectivity with Central Asia. And of course, the North-South corridor would enable India to access Russian oil in a more direct way and bring it out through Iran. So you can see at some level that this is part of the US's strategy and policy to exert maximum pressure on Iran because the Trump administration has completely aligned their policy in this region with that of Israel. They have, apart from encouraging Israel to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities, they themselves have launched attacks on some of the deep facilities. And now they have tightened the sanctions regime to actually, do away with the waivers which were given in 2018. But in this case, as I said, the sanctions will be more targeted at those companies and individuals or government entities actually involved with the port project. And the sanctions involve freezing of assets in the US. It involves, no dealings that the US will have with them, and also blocks visas and travel for individuals who may be engaged in the project. So the sanctions are more targeted. They are not wide-ranging.
Very far-reaching as well.
Yes.
Right.
So
you're right. You're right, Ambassador. Let me get in Ambassador Sibal also once again. Ambassador Sibal, does this now mean that India-Iran cooperation on the Chabahar project will now come to a halt, or can we continue if we do it via a local currency arrangement, sidestepping the dollar?
I think it's not as simple as that. because this project has been signed at the government level, government-to-government level. And a lot of entities on the Indian side have been involved in the past when we've had problems before we got this waiver. In orders that we were replacing on various international companies for cranes and other port facility arrangements were not being fulfilled because those entities, companies were very hesitant to get involved because of the fear of sanctions. Now we'll have the same situation where in terms of expansion of capacity of the port, any additional facilities we want to build to make the berth that we have more efficient will all be subject to prospective sanctions by the United States. I think Meera may be right in her interpretation that this may not apply retrospectively, but only prospectively. But I'm not sure of this because once the waiver is revoked, then it's revoked for anybody who's involved in this project, past or present or future. So it'll place Government of India in a very difficult position because it will have then to decide whether it wants to defy these sanctions and continue developing this project or bend to U.S. will. It'll be a test of our willpower and our strategic autonomy.
Ambassador Meera Shankar also, sir. That's an important point. Ambassador Meera Shankar, Chabahar port was an important counterweight in the Arabian Sea to the Gwadar port, which is controlled by China, the China Belt and Road Initiative. We had already broken off energy ties with Iran because of US sanctions over the years. Will this now be a body blow to India-Iran relations?
Well, it depends on how India chooses to react, in the sense that is it going to try to find ways to continue the project? Is it going to try to find a way forward on the project during negotiations?